that truth must prevail in the end. So line up with truth. Whether it hurts you or not isn't the point.
Yeah.
That's secondary. We're not deliberately we're not setting out to hurt anybody, but we need to establish the truth. Now, if you're false or living a lie, for Pete's sake, just get real. Connect with your inner self. Connect with your conscience. Is what you're doing to Lance fair? Is it equitable? Is it kind? Is it motivated by compassion? If I'm the focus at the moment, just because I've been in court, I'll be the focus. But I'll hold myself accountable to every one of you. I had a very good business when I was in the church, and they've tried to take it all away from me and take all my money away.
That you built up from nothing
Yeah,
as well.
that's plundering. They took my family away.
Yeah.
That's stealing. And I was with my son yesterday. He was against me, directly opposing me in court. Well, I'm not against him for that.
No.
Still love him. I made it clear to him that I want to see my grandkids.
Yeah.
Or I want to meet my ex-wife again. Tell me if you think I'm wrong. I think it's classic narcissism or even psychopaths. They cannot afford to cope with pure motived people like my father was. I don't want to claim it for myself, but I feel completely at rest and pure saying this because I know I'm just saying the truth from my heart. My sons, my sons-in-law, my daughters-in-law, and yet they're doing all this to me in the courts.
Yeah.
And I used to take my grandkids out for trips. We used to love it.
Yeah.
Walks. But all just cut off the last 8 years, not even being able to see them.
Yeah.
How can that be right when overruled by a religion and its leader?
Yeah.
So what's my message? Just be normal. Just get out of the straitjacketing of religion. Get to Christ and find that your vista opens, the big picture is good. And yeah, there might be a little bit of humiliation, but you'll be in the sunshine of divine grace, which is forgiveness and joy and warmth. And yes, you will be able to go away on holidays with your family. You won't be controlled by the leader. You'll be able to call meetings with other places without having a big investigation and asking Mr. Hales this, that and the other, whether it's right.
Yeah.
So you'll be free to be true to yourself and true to Christ, true to the truth. And there'll be a big weight off your shoulders.
Yeah. And the energy release is worth it, isn't it?
Wonderful.
All right, everybody. Today I'm here sat with Lance Christie, and he has an incredible story to share with you, and it's all going into sort of being connected to something higher than ourselves, and also standing in our integrity as well. And I won't say too much more. I'll let Lance do his introduction for himself and where he's at and what he's in a battle with at the moment, you know. But yeah, it's fascinating to see. So anyway, Lance, take it away.
Well, Samuel, what a name you've got. I mean, Samuel had a battle right from boyhood with the hierarchical system of the day, Eli and his sons. And his mother stood true to truth, knew he had potential, and that was nursed through, and he stayed faithful right through his life, just like you're doing, faithful to what he knew, faithful to the truth, beautiful. And he was called on, wasn't he, to give the hard word when the kings and the establishment were struggling. And they didn't want it, but they had to fall back on it when they were in trouble. So very interesting, Samuel, and thank you for the introduction. I've just come out of court yesterday, Royal Courts of Justice in London, and everyone wants to know how I got on. Well, quite simply, I think I'm going to lose. The previous judge, Cotter, got me down from a 2-year jail sentence, 59 contempts of court raised against me by the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church, formerly known as Exclusive Brethren, where I'm just Lance. I'm just innocent. I haven't told any lies as far as I'm concerned. The incredible thing is that the legal system can get hold of part of the truth. This being that Lance has spoken derogatorily of certain members of a church. And, of course, the judges don't know me. The people who do know me are the people in the church, my family, more than any. So they are the very people, my brother Garth, for instance, who's way up there in the church, always has been, right up there, taking 3-day meetings and stuff, which is you have to be very special in the church to take a 3-day meeting. You have to be right up there, you know. But they all kind of have a common view, mass movement, all have to think the same as the leader. And if somebody is regarded as being out of alignment with that leader, they are mincemeat. So, as I say, I'm restful that God means, as you say, a higher purpose through this. Whether I win or lose is just the legal system. The legal system is very easily manipulated, and they'll say, Lance, whoever pays us the money, whether it's criminals or honest people, sorry, this system isn't to sort out justice, or it should be, I think, but actually it's to actually defend people because there are powers there, whether it's for justice or not, that will be against us if we get it wrong. So it becomes a technical exercise rather than a moral one. And when I first engaged, after I'd been excommunicated from the church, in fact, shut up, I went to the lawyers.
When was that, Lance?
It was March 2017. And I believe I was chucked out for a completely wrong purpose because I was helping people who were in trouble. Seriously, that's what I'd do if people came in the door now and said, look, I've got a problem. I just love helping people. My dad did the same. But that somehow becomes a threat to the establishment. Like Samuel. He was a threat to the establishment, so they didn't want him. But they had to have him. So I hope that these dear saints will realise that, hey, it's better to accommodate me, warts and all, rather than excommunicate me. Because I've actually got something to offer. Oh, I'm only Lance, but mutuality, I love that. You know, we're here. I've never met you before. You've just walked in. We've both got a vibe that we've got something special to reveal here to help humanity, to help save people, individuals from corruption.
And it's through truth, isn't it? And integrity,
Exactly.
That's
and
the thing.
Don't you think that truth always wins? How does it win?
It wins because it is always truth. It's always love, you know, and they're the same thing. Truth, love, and honesty. They're all the same thing.
Absolutely.
You know, authenticity. And the authenticity is felt rather than forced. Lies are forced. You know, and the lies are being forced more and more with your situation as well. The corruption will always have to fall. But it takes strong beings to be able to really stand in that integrity and go through the years and years that you've been fighting this in order for it to get to this point now where stuff is starting to happen. But the good thing is that, you know, we're connected to something higher, and that integrity with that is clarity. Whereas the powers that were I'm talking about government or whoever it is, you know, be it a cult or whoever, they will always have to create more lies in order to purvey that lie and keep that perpetual lie going. But in doing that, they are undoing themselves.
And they think that money will protect them. And the top lawyers manipulating the police even, because police can be a little bit, you know, PC ploddish, if you know what I mean.
Well, they don't have law degrees, the police, do they? They're just servants of this thing. And ultimately, they're being manipulated as well through, but I've got to put bread on the table for my children and things like this. So I empathise with them, but also it's time to stand in your own integrity. And there's that, you know, I
said to Jeremy Reed, the opposing lawyer, at the end yesterday. I said, it's all right for you. You make money out of this. You get paid handsomely.
Yeah.
But what about, but it's all meaningless. It's all a waste of time. He could see it, but he couldn't admit it because he's earning good money from the Plymouth Brethren Christian Church.
Yeah. And it's the breakdown of materialism as well, isn't it? You know, and really connecting people with something deeper than just superficial things, isn't it? You know, and that's the thing that we're all doing here.
Well, I've got you here. I don't know whether you're a multimillionaire or a pauper. I'm not bothered.
No, it's
But I can see you're enjoying life and you're a man of integrity. And should our happiness be related to materialism and wealth and money? I love this place. People think I'm wealthy because I've got this place. Well, it was just that, just simply that I had a very good business when I was in the church, and they've tried to take it all away from me and take all my money away.
That you built up from nothing as well.
That's plundering. They've taken my family away. That's stealing. And I was with my son yesterday. He was against me, directly opposing me in court. Well, I'm not against him for that.
No.
Still love him. I made it clear to him that I want to see my grandkids and or I want to meet my ex-wife again and all that stuff.
And that's the thing that really is felt as well, you know. They're trying to attack because they're in fear, whereas you're going at it from a place of love and acceptance of where they're at, knowing that they have been conditioned to believe and act a certain way rather than truly being who they are. They're just going off what this power is saying because they believe that this is the only way, you know. But
so he's got to that power has got to control the narrative. He's decided what's happening. He decides I'm a devil. Everyone's got to believe it. If he decides I'm okay, everyone will believe it. Just like that, just like switching a switch. But the devastation and trauma and stress and illness that carries in its wake is awful. It's shocking. My father, when he was excommunicated from the church, lovely, lovely man, calm. We were lively lads, used to be all over the place. In here, we'd be jumping on the settees, jumping on top of that, that bookshelf. Oh, that's what we were. But he was wonderful. He just calmly just presided. And one of my friends, John Salisbury, who turned against me in the court, he remembered my father saying, "Take that banana out of my ear, son." So we'd stuffed a banana in his ear. And he kind of take that banana. And how else could he have reacted? Grabbed and whipped us? No, he didn't. Calm. Beautiful. And yet he was excommunicated. Brethren were going to him for help in his area. And lovely man, he did his best. I used to stand over the banisters listening occasionally to him on the phone to one and another distressed member of the Brethren. And he calmly would sort matters out.
That's probably why he was excommunicated as well, you know, because it isn't. He was in his truth as well, isn't it? You know?
Absolutely.
And what's the message that you want to get out there to people about this situation? How it's sort of there could be a parallel to their own lives as well, you know, of what's going on.
The truth must prevail in the end. So line up with truth. Whether it hurts you or not isn't the point. That's secondary. We're not deliberately we're not setting out to hurt anybody, but we need to establish the truth. Now, if you're false or living a lie, for Pete's sake, just get real. Connect with your inner self. Connect with your conscience. Is what you're doing to Lance fair? Is it equitable? Is it kind? Is it motivated by compassion? If I'm the focus at the moment, just because I've been in court, I'll be the focus. But I'll hold myself accountable to every one of you, to you as well, Samuel. If I've done any wrong, please just be good enough to tell me exactly what it is. Oh, Mr. Hales says this. No, what are you saying? Because he's got reports he's using against me. So he got a report from a guy from Sheffield who went to my brother Leeds, who's Hales' leader in England. He passes it straight to Hales, sees me at Boston in America because I was there with him, gives me a rollicking. Rings leaves and says, shut me up. I come back. I express a lot of surprise at being shut up, but so managed to stave that off just about. So I was rebuked instead in full church in front of my family, made to just completely crushing all those secure, I thought, or trying to crush all those secure links you have with divine persons, where your link with Christ sees you through any crisis. But when you're rebuked and told that you're sowing discords and basically you're a liar and you're a complete failure, it really tests your mettle.
Yeah, and it makes you who you are as well. That's it. Without that, they're actually known as a humiliation ritual. And people who have chosen to walk this path like we have, I have also the same. I have been humiliated and called this and called that. But when you don't falter in who you are and you carry on going, that is the thing that people see. And it doesn't matter if people are judging you or they're doing this or saying you're this or whatever. You keep walking, and that is what the divine is getting us to do, and see our true power through that.
Yes. So I, rather than create a curfew, I accept it. I think he used 3 words when they did it, rather than protest, because it's a bit like in an arena. If you've got the crowd round in the gladiators and the poor victim, if they protest and say this isn't fair, it doesn't go anywhere. It's just like pissing in the wind, to use the expression, isn't it?
Yeah.
But you hope that somebody with a bit of compassion that would stand up and plead for you or advocate for you, but it doesn't happen.
Yeah.
So I think it's fear, as you say, because they'll be booted out if they stand up for me.
Exactly, and also it's exactly the same as what's happened in society as well. You know, when you stand up and you say against it, there's all these people who are going like, "Oh, he's crazy, he's this, that, and the other," but really they're going, I can't have this paradigm broken because I don't know anything different, and I don't have this connection to God, the divine, whatever it is, that is there on our shoulders all the time, and we feel that, but we only have known that through doing our integral work here. Do you know what I mean? Because people are scared of it. People in the cult are scared of it. The cult of culture and society, it's exactly the same, and we're going, oh, hang on a minute.
Yes.
There's something on the other side of this, and what we can do is show them through our strength that they can be this limitless consciousness, really. You know,
it's very, very difficult to discern, because I remember a man who had a kind of soft voice, you know, a guy called Ken Frizzell. He used to, "We must have a link with Christ, dear brethren," and you felt inferior, as though you hadn't. Because these guys know how to say it in church, and they take meetings after meetings. There's another guy called Mark Bailey, and we must be loyal to the man of God. Loyalty is the test to a person. And by the time these guys drum it in, and you feel bad because you've not got the link up with God that they've got, you feel
inferior in some way. Yeah.
So,
less than,
and that suppresses your personality, your conscience, or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, through comparison, isn't it? It's a thief of joy. Yeah, exactly that. And there is no higher or lower. That's the thing we're all coming into coherence with again, is that there is myself, then the divine. There is nobody else better or worse. There are just levels of consciousness within that, you know, and that's what we realise through these trials. You know?
And I went home after that first rebuke and just wept. I tried to keep calm as I walked out of the room. Just in disgrace, like a little boy being sent out of class at school.
Yes, exactly. You got a great comparison. That's it. Oh, I'm this, isn't it? And it takes really, you back to that childlike self.
It really is schoolyard bullying, isn't it? Yeah. And so you go home and weep, and then a message from you says, "Oh, come round for supper." How can I come round for supper? I've just been crushed by this judgment that's been shared with all the brethren. Will get round all my community, all the brethren around the world. I'm finished. How can I just jump up and come and have a drink of scotch at your place? As though it said, he doesn't understand. They don't understand because I'm a feeling man. The way they are confusing your inside, your inners. and your brain, your mind. Why is this happening to me? Because I did it out of sincerity. Yeah. Why if I help people when they ask for help, is it sowing discords? Sowing discords sounds awfully deliberate. So I'm going around, but I think it's, tell me if you think I'm wrong, I think it's classic narcissism or even psychopaths. They cannot afford to cope with pure motived people like my father was. I don't want to claim it for myself, but I feel completely at rest and pure saying this because I know I'm just saying the truth from my heart. But they cannot cope with that because their motives, they've never sorted their own motives out. Now, I wouldn't say that completely about the cult because if you're influenced or brainwashed or whatever, you're ignorant. So I will forgive that.
Yes, forgive them for they know not what they do, God. Yes.
Well, that's beautiful. And I'm not taking that ground exactly, but the same principle, isn't it? But where the people who are the hierarchy, who are manipulating their minds, vulnerable people,
yes, they are
trusting people, people who have confidence in them, who hand over all their wills, put their wills in the names of these people, your executors, trustees, trust the leader, Bruce Hales and his family, completely. They're taking advantage of those people.
Yeah, it's a fear-based system, isn't it? That's it. Yeah.
Now, this will be hard medicine for them to swallow. But let me just say something about the previous leader, who the father of the current leader, John Hales. He was withdrawn from, cast out 3 times. And of course, they've tried to manipulate history since to make out that he was right all along and the bad people were chucking him out. No, he was off. He was wrong. There's no doubt about it, the first one. The second 2, I would never have chucked him out for, but he was way up there in the things of God, you might say. And anyone that's way up there, being the man of God or man of God in waiting, or showing ambition in the things of God, to my mind, they're off Christian ground. So the reason that John Hales was withdrawn from 3 times was that he was showing those features in the work of God, I believe. Therefore, in God's ways, he was withdrawn from, but he repented, got right. You might say not deep enough, but I'm not here to judge whether someone gets... People come and say sorry, let's take them at face value.
Well, it's kind of, you were in the cult as well at one point, and recognising that within yourself, then you can recognise it within everybody else. And that's that compassion, isn't it? That's that forgiveness and that love. You know?
And John Hales came back into leadership, having been withdrawn from, and I accepted him because he was humble through the processing that God had sent him. So I've been withdrawn from now. Why can't the brethren give me the benefit of the doubt that I gave John Hales? So I drank in his ministry, which was good. And he actually, first time I met him personally, was in Reading in May 1995. And I deliberately went up to him and down in the centre circle after the Saturday night meeting. He said, I've been waiting to speak to you, Lance. His face kind of lit up. And he followed me. So he walked me right up the dished floor to the end, right on the back, through the foyer, put his hat on, cap on, took me out the front doors, put me back on the wall of the church. And, will this do, he said? I said, yeah. And he said, he just said, trouble is, what I tell you, you'll get round. But what I've come to since, that he was under pressure. And I've worked out what it was. It was his son, Bruce, who's now got the big leadership. Because he was out of fellowship when Bruce was in, and Bruce managed to manipulate things to get him into leadership. Now, because he wasn't there of his own volition, he was gunning for leadership back in the early 60s, but he changed. So he was a humble man. And so I accept I accept humble people. I love them. I don't like proud people. So he said to me, listen to this, he said to me, he talked about the leader in Leeds who was Oliver Small, the guy who chucked my father out under the leadership of the day, Symington and McGackie. And he said about the leader in Leeds, who we have to all revere and go to with our sins and confess, if he's right, he does not need supporting. Isn't that good? If you're right, you don't need my support. You stand in your own integrity.
Yes.
If I'm right,
you're sovereign. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. You're not beholden to any
Exactly.
leader. You are leading yourself. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And as for your brother, meaning Garth, who's now the leader, or was, he may be in trouble because he hasn't finished me off. As for your brother, tell him to swallow his medicine. So he has obviously felt that if Garth could take some hard words from me, that he would be saved. But what's happened is the old man died, son has got into position, immediately put Garth into status where people were jumping on trains in England, going through the Channel Tunnel, hiring trains, and going to listen to him taking meetings in France, taking 3-day meetings in America, suddenly rises to fame. And look, we're all human, we love it. Don't we love it when people think, naturally, I mean, we can cope, we've perhaps grown a bit beyond that, but naturally, if someone says, wow, you're a great person, you can take 3-day meetings, and that means you'll get loads of money because everyone around the church gives money to people that take 3-day meetings. Wow, happy days. I'm away. And it's all about money and position and power.
Yes, it's status, isn't it?
Yeah, a bit like, so I think that's got to stop. And it should not be a money-based organisation.
No, exactly, because as soon as you add money in there, then it doesn't become about the true integral love of it, because then it corrupts, doesn't it? Not always. You can navigate that, but if you're keeping all that money to yourself and not putting that back into good places, or maybe you're doing that, but you're doing it in a way that is manipulative to then gain more status almost, then that's not integral, is it? You know?
Well, if you've got love of money, you'll think that more money, the more money, the more money, the more money I've got,
will solve your problems.
The stronger I'll be, the happier I'll be, possibly. But I think we all know that money doesn't buy happiness,
no.
if we're honest. But more importantly, it's the power that money brings over lives.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
I mean,
and it's if the power over lives is the incentive of why you're doing anything.
Yeah.
Instead of, oh, well, if I create more money, then I can put it into other people. I can give it to other people. Like, it's like right now, I have no money, but I am the happiest I've ever been.
Yeah,
and I share that as well. And it's like sharing your vulnerabilities and being open and feeling as well. Back to what you were saying as well with, these guys up there, you're feeling this. You're feeling this deeper connection within yourself. They're completely disconnected from that because they knew that if they did start feeling, they too, because they are also beings who were babies one time, they were loved or not loved or whatever it is, they've been disconnected from that feeling. And they think that this status and things is this, but it means that you have to keep consuming that in order to perpetuate that. And they're stuck in a cycle too. And that's the deeper level of compassion. But there needs to be accountability for that and recognition in themselves for that as well. And that's what you're doing, is you're exposing that, and they are not going to like that at all.
And my dear son, I've got a legal penal code. I mustn't say anything derogatory about him. But here was, father and son, I was looking into his face yesterday, and I can't tell him what I know he needs because I've got a penal code. A father can't say anything derogatory about his son. I mean, a father, I don't go around speaking derogatory of people. And it came up because I'd written an article, which I'd like to go into as a separate effort. But I wrote an article called Does Truth Matter? Which is quite a good question. Does truth matter? Of course it matters. Comes first in my book. Or should matter. So of course this has been used and pulled to bits in court. But they get hold of bits of it. Like for instance, I quote Revelation where it says, we were told, it says in scripture that liars go to the lake of fire. Now, I do not preach a hellfire gospel. I've always preached a gospel of grace and love and forgiveness. But these people get hold of this. and twist it back against me as though I'm a hellfire preacher and saying my son is going to the lake of fire. No, it was a completely separate reference, quoting
twisted
scripture.
Everything, yeah.
Absolutely.
Because it doesn't suit their agenda.
It all comes out in court against me.
Yeah.
And they're just desperate to win a court battle so they can, I believe, so they can say to the 55,000 brethren around the world, see, Lance is a bad man. He's saying that we're going to the lake of fire when he is. And that's what I said about the Father. That I was a little boy. Oh, how terrible. So I stayed with the religion when I was 16. But here I am at 69, getting married in 3 weeks.
Looking incredible, by the way. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think this young lady of 31 must think so, because I'm hoping to get married to her in 3 weeks' time today on her 32nd birthday. Yeah. So I can't look too decrepit, can I?
No.
But it's because I do think that health and vitality come from inside. I've got a clear conscience.
Yes, exactly.
And all this stuff in court yesterday, all they're saying about me, I did not intend any harm at all.
No, it's twisted and manipulated, isn't it? And that's the thing with what you're saying about the lake of fire as well. The truth of it is they're already in a lake of fire because they're having to pursue and perpetuate this falseness that really is eating them up on a soul level. That's destroying them. They will age quicker because they know, and you can't you can't hide anything from God.
No.
Nothing is hidden, even your thoughts, and they'll be there going like, oh dear, hang on a minute, we need to keep this lie going so that I can lie to myself about this being okay. But this guy over here, he's rocking the boat. Screw him.
Yes.
We'll use money and things and power. Yes. But ultimately, the love that you have within your essence and in your aura and your clarity is always going to win. Because it doesn't matter what they say. They can twist, they can manipulate, but they are lying to themselves. Yes. And after we move on and we transcend out of this life, they will get a life review. And in that life review, they will see everything that they will feel everything that they have done to others. And that is the biggest learning tool. From my perspective, anyway, that's what happens. Yes. And they will feel that on a very deep level, not just of what they've done to you, but all of the manipulation. And they will realize the lies.
Well, can I just say that, just to help us all, because I was part of it. And I'm not here to judge, I'm here to forgive, okay? Yeah. And I was there, so I'm not speaking down at anybody, not at all. No. But the issues to face are JT Jr., leader in waiting, usurped Gerald Cowell in Central Hall, London in 1959, simply because this new separation rule was coming in, which was awful. And Cowell was saying, hold on, give it time. Jim said, oh no, has to start now. So
what does that involve, the separation?
It means it was separation is a scriptural principle, morally speaking. I mean, I wouldn't let a known murderer walk in this door and come and chat with me like it's just natively we exercise separation to a certain extent.
Yes, it's interesting it's come up.
But they then took it a big stage further by saying that if your family are not in fellowship with our type of Christianity, you have to excommunicate them, not live with them, not eat with them. Boom, boom. So it's a physical separation, which cut right through families completely.
Which is against the true teachings or the true embodiment of Christ.
Absolutely. The inclusiveness, come unto me, all sinners, everybody. That spirit should mark us. If I'm enjoying something, we want everyone to enjoy it. That spirit of the glad tidings, completely alien to it. So no missionaries, we're just ourselves, and unless you comply with our brand.
Conform and do as you're told. Then there are conditions to this love.
And if you don't, it's fear, because if you don't, you're going to lose your family. You're going to split will and split you right down the family.
So which is not unconditional love, and that is what the truth of where the start of all religions stem from was unconditional love and free will and choice.
Yes, exactly. And I love this girl I'm marrying. I love her unconditionally. She loves me unconditionally. We know it. That's why there's going to be a great link. There's no strings attached. We went through my LV8 program, which is a program for wholesomeness. She was weeping. She said, I haven't got any money. She was in debt. She was in trouble. And I wept and said, I haven't got any family. I can help you. She had absolute poverty-stricken, in debt as well, but she had a family, very precious. So, wow. And then we put our arms around each other, and that was it. So she gave herself to me, I gave, and so I had a bit of money, and so I immediately got her sister in for a cancer operation, which was very overdue. Couldn't afford to go for it. So we literally went straight up to her sister's, got her into the hospital, went to see her parents. I bent down on one knee, proposed to her. Her father got one leg, can't afford a leg. I'd spent hundreds of thousands on my son because he's got one leg, had this awful accident. But I believe that I should be able to go to the church and see whether there's enough compassion in there to fund this man's leg, because I've run out of money with all his legal costs. I didn't want to spend a penny on legal costs.
And that's what we go back to saying before, you know, if you have all this money or you're able to help, then help, you know, that's it.
Yes, use it to help the poor. And I love poor people. I just love the poor. I think Christ did. So then the next thing was 65, when after the Haleses had married into the Taylors, who were the big name of the day because the previous leader was a Taylor. I marry a poor girl. My ex-wife in the Brethren was a poor girl. No, I didn't marry her for money at all or a social status. And she was lovely, but innocent, very easily manipulated, but lovely. And now I'm marrying another very poor girl. But the Haleses married into the Taylor family, the top family of the Brethren. And then by 1965, they'd grown the commercial system, which was a business, and they kind of emphasized money in the religion. So separation made way for money. It is kind of a divide and conquer.
A natural progression of it, isn't it? If you're unconscious.
Yes. So Jim Taylor instructed Sydney, where the Haleses were, to withdraw from them in October 1965. Rightly so, because they brought money into God's things and corrupted the temple accordingly. So they were withdrawn from. And then the next matter that needs looking into is Aberdeen. So Taylor carried on the leadership, which he'd been pushed into wrongly, quite frankly, in 1959, when he usurped Cowell. And of course, was found in bed with a married woman whose husband was in another room in the house. Right at the time, he was taking big 3-day meetings in Aberdeen, Scotland. So, of course, that was all covered up. Oh, it was to test the rest of us. Perfectly okay, him being in bed with a married woman, naked. Perfectly okay, because we're protecting the testimony, and the embodiment of the testimony is the man himself. So whatever he does passes muster.
Power corrupts. And then it's, we'll just make up a new law to suit us, you know, and what we're doing.
So why doesn't, if everything he does passes, why, when I'm helping brethren around the UK who reach out for my help, why doesn't that pass muster? I believe it's a conundrum.
Because it's honest, isn't it?
Thank you.
Exactly.
So that all Aberdeen, it can easily be met. All the brethren need to do in Aberdeen is just say, look, we got it wrong. Acknowledge it to each other.
Exactly that.
And the whole
accountability, isn't it?
Truth prevails. And then we can all meet, reconcile. Those that left at Aberdeen, other gatherings started, we can all reconcile, forgive, and have much happier times. Because the brethren have climbed down off the pedestal when, thank God I'm not as the rest of men. We're better than you, kind of thing. And we're all sinners saved by grace. And that's safe. That's a safe. And then, of course, going on, my father was chucked out in 1972 by the new leader who emerged. The Haleses had been too weakened by the 65 commerce thing, so they didn't get into power then. So the current leader is saying the Haleses should really have taken over after Jim Taylor died in 1970. So the Haleses should have been going from 1970, having put Taylor in position in 59. So really what he's saying is, for the last the last 65 years should have been all Hales-led, not Christ-led. Well, he's trying to make out it's Christ-led.
Well, that's it, isn't it?
That's where the deception comes in. Parliament's been deceived. My brother stands in Parliament in 2012 and says what wonderful people we are to the Charity Commission. We deserve charitable status. We help the poor. We're kind we're charitable. Aren't we lovely people? Well, you shouldn't need to do that if you're a true Christian.
Yes, because the validation shows that you are having to explain who you are as a character, really. That's it, you know, rather than being integral.
Yes.
You don't have to explain. If you're truly in love, then you don't have to explain. It's shown. And everybody can see it anyway. But the fact that validation is there, it's almost like, well, you're forcing an interpretation of yourself onto other people, isn't it? Going, we're this. And it's like, no, you know.
And it wasn't an honest presentation at all. And Bruce Hales, the current leader, sent a message in, go for their underbelly, which meant the Charity Commission, in other words, go for their underbelly, just kill them for unbelief, you know, kind of thing.
Yeah.
That's the British government. I mean, why the British government collapsed, I believe, because of the strength of the legal system brought to bear. Of course, these people with money can afford the top lawyers like they did yesterday.
Yeah, but that's not fair, is it? That's it. Yeah,
it's not justice, is it?
Yes.
Money. The legal system is for the moneyed.
Yeah.
And you've got to argue, is the justice system of our country moneyed for the moneyed people? Why can't poor people access it just as well?
Yeah, exactly.
I've been very thankful for legal aid lawyers the last time round, not be able to afford. I've run out of money.
Yeah.
Couldn't afford the lawyers I had to afford to.
And you've gone all in, isn't it? And you haven't given up either. And that's the thing. And that's the thing that will be scaring them too, you know.
Yeah.
But what is it that you want to say to any of the current members, really?
What I want to say is I think the whole situation can be transformed, can be healed, so long as we acknowledge the truth. And once that's happened, I'll be the first to forgive. But I can't, when there's all this corruption and big lumps under the carpet, you can't just forgive hidden corruption.
No, there has to be accountability. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
You cannot forgive. It's like a boy. Little boy. You know he's stolen some money. You can't then, forgive you for stealing that money yesterday. He's got to show a measure of remorse and be honest and say, yes, I did it, Dad.
Yeah.
It's so simple.
Yeah. Honesty.
Christ's work on the cross is for the worst sin. So if Bruce Hales has stolen, billions of pounds from the taxpayer through falsely presenting his case to the Charity Commission, well, just be honest and say I've got it wrong. I did deceive Parliament. My brother was his front man, Fred Nile, in the New South Wales Parliament. As far as I'm concerned, he deceived the New South Wales Parliament into believing that the Brethren should be the beneficiaries of the Steward Act, which was introduced in 1989, which is an act which takes the Brethren, potentially, if they style themselves on the foundation, out of the court. It's as though they've got a parallel universe up in the sky, which is above the court system. It's a higher calling. And the judge, Cotter, was reaching after that in court. They seem to be of a higher purpose. They believe they're of a higher purpose. So these people are manipulating what we're saying, that we're in touch with the greater, to the extent of getting a law through the secular parliament which legalises it. Well, you don't need to legalise God.
Yeah, totally.
It's unbelievable. The scripture is very clear. You choose between God or mammon, God or money. And the love of money is the root of all evil. So this man, with his spiritual status as the man of God or the church leader, and a trustee of the foundation, can decide that Smith is not worthy of fellowship. So he loses all his spiritual life, all his contacts, all his brethren, everyone he knows. At the same time, he can have his assets taken away, have all his money, all his material wealth taken away. Well, taking away your spiritual life is bad enough, although it's a blessing in disguise because you're getting out of what's turned into a cult. God's over that. Beautifully, wonderfully, all things work together for good to those who love God and are called according to the purpose. Wonderful,
and that's
wonderful
something
scripture.
that you know, and
Absolutely,
they don't. They're disconnected from
I proved that through Jed's accident, my own son's accident when he lost his leg. It was an excruciating experience. And the previous leader, John Hales, quoted that scripture to me, and I've hung on to that. So I've got a lot of time for the previous leader, as you can see. But then, so on the other hand, I've lost my train of thought now. So we've got the other hand where they're legalizing spiritual things, trying to shove Christ, if you like, or Christianity, or the assembly of Christ through a legal system. So they've turned the church into a punishing system. You're going to lose everything. And they create trusts which are beyond the scope of law. You're going to lose everything if you leave. And we mean it. We mean everything. So I went back and said, do you mean my wife? Do you mean my money? Do you mean my finance? Do you mean my family? Didn't reply. Of course they meant that. So I was meant to be in fear then, so much in fear of losing everything, that I would just comply and just curl up and be a little submissive, little compliant man that never said boo in church and never protested about anything. And if you ever have doubts, that's very serious. So that, I was meant to be a little compliant, little do nothing, goody two shoes. Yes, Mr. Hales, yes, Mr. Hales. When the whole thing is a complete antithesis to what Christ did. It's just completely opposite to what Christ set out. He didn't punish, he forgave. And forgiveness is the cornerstone or foundation of Christianity, because Christ won that for us on the cross. So he went through all this stuff, so we don't have to go through it. So,
and you're truly embodying that in your way of looking at all of this, you know, and it's that acceptance and that forgiveness for everybody who is still within that group as well.
I love them.
Exactly.
They're oppressed. They're actually oppressed. They can't see it. They think they're marching to the leader's tune, like a... You know,
almost like there's something to gain, but there isn't. You're just losing because you're giving your power away to this supreme leader. And it's like, no, he's the same as all of you. You know?
And they think that he will get them out of trouble in the end. I don't think they think he's really leading into heaven, but he's leading them into such a safe, secure, moneyed place with material comforts.
Which is false.
It's false. It's the broad way.
It's a lie.
The scripture, broad and the narrow way. Last time I was in Sydney, in 2015, September, I preached on the broad way and the narrow way. It's actually the narrow way that leads to life. And that's what we found through mercy. We're not any better than them. But we just want to get people off the broad way, the moneyed way, the comfort zone way, the born with silver spoons in your mouth way if you're in the hierarchy.
To have everything taken away from you. And that's a part of the path that we walk on. Right now, I've lost everything, but I've gained so much. And it's exactly the same with you. And that's it. They're trying to, we'll take all this from you. And so that you will behave and you will do as you're told. And you're going, take it. I will still walk towards you. And nobody likes to walk in front of an opponent who just keeps coming at them with that truth, with that knowing,
with truth,
with that honesty.
I mean, sounds awfully presumptuous, so please hold myself accountable. But actually, they would be happier if they came to those that they'd excommunicated, like myself, right? And who had proven themselves to be people of integrity, because some just go haywire when they come out, because they've been under that system. They're trying to relive it on other people. So they're as punishing on other people out here as they've been punished. So hurt people hurt people. So they can't put money into the hands of hurt people. But myself, dare I say, and even better, others or who are morally grounded, like myself, who've been chucked out, and that I could name one or two, like Rod Horgood in Derbyshire, and David Shorto in Manchester. But there are a number, and we would then, if they would then, like I've done to them, held myself accountable to them, as well as the government, as well as the police and everyone, if they would do the same to us, it would be like a transfer of power out of Bruce Hales's hands and his sons to people that they would actually from their hearts know would be fair with their wealth. Now, that would be a means of getting them off the broad way onto the narrow way. Now, if the narrow way people have got money, we will spread it and give it to the poor. And right now, for instance, I've got my father-in-law to be immobile, can't afford an artificial leg, and I would like to think that their hearts would pour money into me, knowing that I will do my very best for this dear man, just like I did my very best for my eldest son, Jed. Because that's me. I love helping people who are in trouble.
Yeah. Because you realise that they are you. You know, that's it. It's like
I could have been with one leg. There, but for the grace of God go I. So I'm not judging the brethren. I'm saying I was one of you. I was as bad as you. You chucked me out. I've learned a few things. I'm just sharing my experience with you.
Yeah, thank you in essence. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you. Deep
no
gratitude.
Judgment.
Yeah.
I'm a forgiver, but we've got to get all the nonsense out of the equation. All this man of God stuff. All this, you're better than me, therefore I'm going to do what you say stuff.
Yeah.
And be men yourself. Be women of God, men of God, sons of God. And they are people in liberty who are intelligent people. And they're motivated by the Spirit of God. You understand what I mean by the Spirit of God?
Yeah.
Tell me your understanding of the promptings of the Spirit of God.
It's truth within yourself. You're honest with yourself, and you're honest with other people as well.
Yes.
And you see yourself in everybody else as well, And
you actually, as you go through the mill, you actually begin to discern honesty in other people. So you actually discern what's fake, and you just want them to sort it. And most people can't take it.
No.
You start trying to help them to deal with their shit. They maintain their facade, their defense.
But you can't, because that's force as well. And then that's also control. So it's like, it's the letting go. But all we can do is speak our truth.
Yes.
That's it.
Yes.
And if they want to hear, they will hear. And
Yes.
if they don't, that's fine as well. They will maybe have to go into another life to learn that, or we don't know, But it's like the letting go of that. All we have control over is how we respond to whatever is coming up.
And so I think that's the germ of the gospel, that we are either converted to Christ or we're not. And I think that every man, woman and child in this world has at least one point in their life where they have to face whether they're going to be a good person or a bad person. I believe that. And so the teaching of Christianity is, when you realise you're bad and you've failed, you turn to Christ and he forgives you. Because you've met it all anyway. But it just needs that personal bravery, if you like, to fess up to the truth.
Yeah, accountability.
And I think it's particularly beautiful if you've found that peace through fessing up, when you tell others. You might as well, like my wife to be, she was absolutely in trouble through gambling. Well, she said to me, she's quite happy for me to tell people that she's changed, and I was the vehicle. I took her to the police because it was so bad. The police said, sort it out. And she wept, and that was the end of it. I loved her. They were getting married.
And the beauty of it is, as well, is you see compassion within that as well, because it's like her dad is in a bad state,
Yes.
It's like, what would she do with them? She'd probably give it to her dad so that he could have his new leg and things like this. It's like nobody's doing anything truly. It's the accountability thing. The same.
And I'm in debt. I'm in debt. I'm hanging on to this place.
Hey, me too. It's it.
But I believe that as the whole thing turns, that the brethren will realise that for all I've done for them and everybody, that I should hang on to this place. And indeed,
Mm-hmm.
there's a couple of places for sale around here I'd love to buy, and just open them up for people who have been damaged and want some counselling and help and fortification and healing.
Yeah.
Because they're confused. I don't want anyone confused. I want their minds clear. And my dream is to turn this place and one or two of the buildings around into a retreat for cult leavers.
Yeah.
And I've got it registered in Australia, a charity called Free Indeed, which is just that, to provide counselling and care.
It's like deconditioning almost as well, isn't it? Yeah.
And I reckon that if they came to a place like this and had to do with people like yourself, myself, others who have come out the other side, they can be deprogrammed and set up completely differently within maximum 3 months. Now, serious cases might take more, but then that will help the mental health. It'll be, I don't claim to be a doctor, but I was one of the founding directors of One Better Fund, one of the private healthcare schemes the Brethren got going actually. And I know that healing mentally comes through having a bright outlook.
Yeah. Through going through darkness as well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you cannot heal if you haven't been hurt as well. That's
exactly.
it. Yeah. It's the beautiful paradox of it as well, isn't it?
I don't want anyone else to spend the 8 years I've spent clawing through all this, going through courts, police visits, lawyers.
Yeah. Energetically, it's very similar to my journey and a lot of other people's. We go through this so that then we can help guide, and it is just a guidance, other people through that situation and say, it's terrible. When that thing happened to me, I did this. Yeah. And they can either choose to do that or choose to do something else. Yeah. And that's the thing, is just like when people are breaking down, the people who I speak to as well, you know, they're in that place of, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm lost, and all the rest of it. And it's like, you're all good. It's okay. When this happened to me, I responded in this way. And I got it wrong here, and I got it wrong here, and I got it wrong here. You know? And that's the humility of it as well. And it's like, it's okay if you get it wrong, but trust that you will. We've been through hell, you know? It's like, that's it.
Obviously, those who have ordered judgment on people, excommunicated, have got a particular responsibility.
Yes, 100%.
But the compliant masses are largely innocent.
Yes, we are all innocent. Yes, exactly that. But the controlling bodies, that's where we're going with this. That's the big mainstay of what we're talking about here. Is there needs to be a level of accountability taken for these people.
Yes.
You know,
and
in order.
There's a scripture, isn't there, back in the Old Testament about the wise woman of Abel. The city was going to be mown down, basically. So somebody from outside the wall gave a reprieve, said, throw his head over the wall. Now, we're not asking for any heads to be thrown over the wall, literally, but the principle's there. Yeah. So if there is one person or 20 people who have been responsible, a bit like the Nuremberg trials and Hitler, they've got, some of them confessed and were saved. Yeah. Wonderfully. But you can't leave Hitler in power and forgive.
Yes.
Can you?
No, exactly.
Because he's the embodiment of evil.
Yes.
So if there's anybody that's the embodiment of evil, it's not for me to name.
To judge. Yeah, that's it.
It's not for me to judge.
Yeah, they're always doing it to themselves by trying to purvey the lie.
Yeah, that person needs to be held accountable to the congregation, to those that are concerned about the rights of Christ, if you like, the assembly of Christ, the body of Christ, as it should be in churches, and actually cleanse it of that controlling factor, which is detracting from all that Christ stood for.
Yeah, the dishonesty, isn't it?
Yes.
It's exactly, it goes back into what you were saying about, you know, these people up there, they would be so much more happy as well if they admitted that. It would free up energy, transmute it very quickly. And the good that they could truly do with that. That connection from here, it's all about status, money, all of this, to here would, exactly.
Let me just pull the leader back to a comment he once said to me. He said about Father John Hales, who was the man I've had time for. He said he just wanted to be a brother amongst his local brethren. Beautiful. So why can't all these hierarchy guys just eat humble pie, confess up in assembly, and just say, we just want to be brethren amongst you, lovely brethren.
Yeah.
And let those that have been oppressed and had their lips sealed for decades, they might make an odd little remark
through fear. Yeah.
Let them take over.
Yeah.
And let any that have been excommunicated wrongly reconcile with them and help to heal the whole thing.
Yeah.
Because we are forgivers.
Yeah. And they have a massive resource of, whether you look at, I see money as neutral. It can be used, like a gun. A gun is neutral. It can save somebody's life or it can take somebody's life. Same with money. Where you're using that intention is the word. The intention that they've got, if they've got all this money as well, they could be emanating that out in real good ways rather than storing it all to keep this safety for themselves.
Yes.
And release that, and they would be so much
Beautiful.
more happy because they would see a change that they're making in the world.
And Christ himself said, inasmuch as you've done it to one of these least of my brethren, you've done it to me. So it's the least, little ones, how we are towards the oppressed, the poor, the widows, the disadvantaged, the disabled. That is where we should be reflecting the Spirit of Christ, inasmuch as you've done it to one of these least, my brethren, you've done it to me. Isn't that beautiful?
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So get that pervading, a wave of repentance. Yeah, we've got it wrong.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
We'll all be happy.
I apologise. Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah. And then
be vulnerable.
Yeah.
That's where the true strength is.
Yeah. Keeping a show up is hard work. It wears you out.
Yeah. It requires so much consumption of resources to do that.
Yes, you'll get burnout.
Yeah, totally. And they must be so burnt out as well. That's it.
And the older men in there.
God, we've got to do this now. Exactly.
And the older men in there, when I left, were basically not revered. They were. We had some lovely older men, but they were never asked to take a meeting. A guy called Philip Harding, Walter Dixon, because those appointed by the leader were presiding, they had to take all the meetings. I loved variety. Martin Edgar, here's another, he's still around. The guy that came in, he was out for 40 years, came just unorthodox people who were true to themselves and true to Christ. Beautiful. Whereas the hierarchy stifles. It's so cold and callous and hard.
Limiting as well.
It's just chaining people up.
Yeah.
Whereas Christ was, let us stand free in the freedom in which we stand. And if the Son shall set you free, you're free indeed. Beautiful.
And to remain open is the best term for God that I have found is openness.
Yes.
But if there is any control or manipulation or constriction of that openness, then it is felt and it's stifled. And that requires so much energy to uphold, you know what I mean? Not to uphold, it's the wrong word, to keep in that constricted state, So
and it's one of the, I had it when I was a kid particularly. When you do something wrong and you have to go and confess it, it's a real test of, because you're having to throw away your reputation just to get down to truth.
Yeah.
And in there, you had to go and confess it to a priest. Well, they weren't very sympathetic often. They used it to manipulate, which is terrible. They should absolutely wipe it off, expunge all the records.
Yes.
Because that's what Christ does.
Exactly, yeah. He is here in this present moment. Yeah.
Don't keep a catalogue, a book of all people's sins, and bring it back if they're naughty in the future.
And look at the judicial system. Exactly, the judicial system does that, doesn't it?
Yes. And they've been trying to get me a criminal. So I've got a criminal record. Mercifully, in this case, where I've got a suspended sentence, is a civil case. So there's no criminal record on me. I'm still free. But I've come very close. One time, Charles Hales, the son of the leader, said I was there to put a bullet through his father's head and burn his house to the ground, and that I wanted to have sex with a sister. And this went into the courts in Sydney. So I had to go and say what a load of nonsense and get it all pulled away. But
when they can't attack what you're saying, they will attack your character, and it is a big sign of weakness. That's the thing to take out of that. They're trying, but they are undoing themselves in doing that, because the more lies you create, the more energy you have to use, and ultimately it falls down.
And that was all because the eldest son, may have been the leader in waiting, Bruce's eldest son, came out and assaulted my friend and me to a lesser extent in the street when we were doing a video, basically appealing for them to break down this wall of separation so we can have reconciliation. This big wall, thick wall of separation. You can't eat, drink, socialise with anybody outside your one true church. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, don't do that, because then we have to admit all of these things.
Yeah,
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, just admit them and let us enjoy it. So, bring my grandkids in here. My kids, my children. Enjoy life.
Must be a real family.
My wife-to-be will just enjoy them too. She's not going to start getting uppity just because.
No, exactly. It's forgiveness, isn't it?
She's lovely.
Yeah. What's the to round this off, Lance? You know, and it's like, I love the name Lance as well, because you're like
Samuel's better.
Having it to it. That's it. Or subjective. But that's it. What is your ending thoughts with this, and what's the sort of overriding message that you want to sort of give out?
Peace comes from within. Let's own up to the truth, regardless of consequences. There's nobody standing with a big hammer over your head wanting to punish you for confessing the truth. In fact, we're all ready to rejoice with you. Like Luke 15. You know, they call their friends and the neighbours and rejoice. Here's my lost son back, kind of thing. That we're ready for that. We're reconcilers. So let's go for peace and joy and happiness and inclusiveness, humility, all these, accountability. And I used to go out of my way. If I did something which looked a little bit odd, I would explain why I'm doing it to the brethren, as though I owed it to them. But they don't do any of that to me.
Well, that showed your integrity, didn't it? That was it.
So, and my wife was the same, but then she was manipulated. And obviously, when the leader says that Lance is a bad man, we've got to withdraw from him, she gets scared and lines up. She wants to keep her family, doesn't want to be shoved off at me in the back of beyond somewhere.
And that's not fair, is it?
No, it's not fair on her.
No, not at all.
It's not fair on my children, my grandchildren.
And it will be being felt by them energetically as well, you know, that truth. They'll be going, you know, this, that, but the truth is there, and the truth is love, you know. It's like...
I love my sons-in-law, my daughters-in-law, and yet they're doing all this to me in the courts. And I used to take my grandkids out for trips. We used to love it. Walks. But all just cut off the last 8 years, not even being able to see them. How can that be right when overruled by a religion and its leader? So what's my message? Just be normal. Just get out of the straitjacketing of religion. Get to Christ and find that your vista opens, the big picture is good. And there might be a little bit of humiliation, but you'll be in the sunshine of divine grace, which is forgiveness and joy and warmth. And yes, you will be able to go away on holidays with your family. You won't be controlled by the leader. You'll be able to call meetings with other places without having a big investigation and asking Mr. Hales this, that, and the other, whether it's right. So you'll be free to be true to yourself and true to Christ, true to the truth. And there'll be a big weight off your shoulders.
And the energy release is worth it, isn't it?
So is that good enough for a summary?
That's beautiful. Thank you very much, Lance. That's
Thank
really
you,
cool. It's all right. You're very welcome, mate. It's lovely to meet you anyway. And
Thanks, mate.
Really enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing what happens in the future with regards to this. And even if it only, it'll reach the people who it needs to reach, and we know that, it's like divinely it's all playing out. But just to share your story and to hear that, and to be able to sit with you, and it's like to hear you deeply, that's it. It's like,
Thank you, mate.